if it's the weekend, then it must be Michael Snyder and his Culture Blast Report. That's what he likes to call it. And we'll find out what's happening in movies this week. Hello, Michael.
Well, hello, Alex, and hello, everybody else. And it's another beautiful day in the Dream Factory here in Los Angeles. The sun is out. It's warm and cozy. I don't know what it's like where you are, but, let's keep on rolling, I say. And we've got some movies, some good, some bad, and some not even worth mentioning. And one of them is a faith-based movie called The Shack that I couldn't see because it conflicted with my only chance to see a Duplass Brothers comedy. I had a choice. Wannabe inspiring movie filled with Christian allegory and melodrama, even one with Sam Worthington and Octavia Spencer, or a broad comedy with Anna Kendrick, Lisa Kudrow, and Craig Robinson. No contest. The only faith I have in faith-based movies is that they will be dull, earnest, ponderous, and preachy. But hey, if it's your thing, The Shack is out there. Good luck. Let's get to what really matters. The rockin' and rollin' movie, Logan. Logan, oh my God. I have to say, I'm a big fan of the superhero genre, comic books and such, and Logan is a serious-minded, dark, and rough ride for my fellow comic fans, and for those who just seek out and revel in the blockbuster movies based on comic books, some of which are crap, some of which are terrific. This feels more like a gritty indie drama or a modern-day Western than any blockbuster, despite it being related in a big way to Fox Studios' feature film series based on Marvel's X-Men comics about superhuman mutant heroes and villains. It's purported to be the last time we see quadruple threat Aussie hunk Hugh Jackman in the role of Wolverine, the clawed, near indestructible berserker with the healing factor, and the on-again, off-again X-Man, who is also known as Logan. It's also the third solo Wolverine movie separate from the X-Men films, and the second straight to be directed, and make that well-directed, by James Mangold, who previously brought us the Yakuza-heavy one called The Wolverine, set largely in Japan. I love that. And guess what? Logan is a much better movie. As this one begins, it's sometime in the 2020s, and only a few mutants are left in the world, and Logan himself is aging because his healing factor is finally crapping out after almost a century of vigor. That's right, the character in continuity and can't has been around for roughly a century plus. The heart of the story, which becomes, by the way, a road trip, is the connection between our anti-hero and three other mutants, including Patrick Stewart's failing, ailing, near-decrepit telepath, Charles Professor X Xavier, the guy who brought the X-Men together, and of course Stewart has been in all of these films. And now the character is hiding out in the Mexican desert with Stephen Merchant's fearful, albino, power-dampening mutant Caliban. Comedian and writer Stephen Merchant, you know that he teamed up with Ricky Gervais to bring us The Office and Extras, and has done his own solo stuff like the TV show Hello Ladies. He's great in this film. And the third of these mutants is Laura, played by an unknown actress named Daphne Keane. And Laura is a young girl with a secret, as well as very familiar-looking mutant abilities, and she's on the run from a black ops unit that wants to capture her for nefarious reasons. Soon, Logan, Xavier, and Caliban are also on the run. This is brutal and moving stuff with killer action sequences, pardon the expression, and deep, dramatic moments that the actors must have relished because they deliver real emotion in a superhero movie, mind you. Lovely stuff, dark and sad, and for those who care, it's kind of inspired by the current X-Men comic book series Old Man Logan, featuring the aged and failing Wolverine. I thought it was great stuff, and I really recommend this for anyone who loves these kind of films, and also just in general, if you like that kind of gritty film, you buy the premise. What's the phrase? Buy the premise and you buy the bit. Richard E. Grant is in this thing, Eric LaSalle. There are other solid people in the cast. And all I can tell you is that, it's a lovely capper on Jackman and Stewart's run as these two characters, because we may not see them back again for a variety of reasons. Anyway, moving on, Before I Fall is sort of Groundhog Day or Heathers meets Mean Girls. a cute and conflicted high school girl, played, by the way, by a wonderful young actress named Zoe Deutsch, who I totally loved in the movie Everybody Wants Some, which I highly recommend you seek out on video if you can find it. She is in a quartet clique of smug teen babes and finds herself reliving the same tumultuous Friday into Saturday night over and over again, 5, 6, 7, a half a dozen times, with changing and disturbing results for the girl and for her clique mates. You can call it Groundhog Day, and it's not bad for what it is in my book. I mean, I see a lot of these teen-skewed films, and I think, well, not only is it not aimed at me, it's not very good. This was okay. And we have a chance to root for a girl who initially strikes us as kind of off-putting. And again, Zoe Deutsch, really terrific in this thing. She happens to be a legacy kid. She's the daughter of director Howard Deutsch, and the actress Leah Thompson reminds me a little of her mom, but really well done here in terms of what it is. She should maybe kind of choose better films in general, but I thought that this, for all of its failures and all of its sort of, simple-mindedness, it does have a nice message for kids, and again, Zoe Deutsch really delivers. Directed by Rai Russo Young, and the supporting players are not anybody you necessarily recognize, but I thought that Before I Fall was good of kind, as we like to say. Speaking of kind, I'm almost going to be kind to Table 19 because of its roots, but Anna Kendrick headlines a Duplass Brothers comedy about a maid of honor who is relieved of her wedding day duties and finds herself seated with 5 random guests at Table 19, way in the back, near the bathroom. It's sort of an insult for a young woman who had been so close to the bride, but there she is, and of course Kendrick plays that beleaguered woman. And the movie works at all on the basis of its supporting cast. Lisa Kudrow, Craig Robinson playing a bickering married couple. Again, Stephen Merchant, this week's MVP, because he is terrific in this film, whether he's underwritten or overwritten. June Squibb and Wyatt Russell, who is Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's boy, and also, like Zoe Deutsch, very solid and Everybody Wants Some. And it benefits from the comedy chops of the cast, even if its dry spells are a bit too frequent. Its relationship drama gets a little contrived, and some of the jokes and gags are just obvious or sort of meh. Look, I didn't hate Table 19. I even liked it at times, even if it is comparatively weak, middle-of-the-road wedding cake from the indie mumblecore darlings, the Duplass Brothers, who wrote the script. I mean, these guys are known for making cool, scattered relationship dramedies. Mumblecore, people just kind of sputter out the dialogue. It's as naturalistic as can be. They made The Puffy Chair, Cyrus, and Jeff Who Lives at Home. And they produced equally cool, low-budget stuff like The One I Love, The Skeleton Twins, and a movie I highly recommend, Safety Not Guaranteed, the strangest time travel movie ever. And I prefer that stuff to Table 19, which is a blandly likable attempt to crack the mainstream. All I can say is thank goodness for Stephen Merchant, who made my time watching this worthwhile whenever he was on screen. The Last Word is a dramedy about a woman in the sunset of her life, a retired controlling businesswoman who decides to write her own obituary. So she seeks a young journalist and takes up the task of teaching the girl about herself. And the journalist, of course, tries to find out the truth behind this really kind of unlikable woman. And as a result, a friendship develops, like you'd expect in a movie like this. The assets here are Shirley MacLaine and Amanda Seyfried as the older woman and the younger woman. You also get Thomas Sadoski from The Newsroom, Philip Baker Hall, Tom Everett Scott, Joel Murray, one of the Murray brothers, and Anne Heche, and they all tried their best. And this movie has its moments, but some of the emotional epiphanies are telegraphed in a very big way. And some of the cuteness is borderline queasy-making, while the writing gets like clumsy and mechanical. And there's heart and determination shown by the actors. The woman, faced with the fact that she's led a life that may have been filled with achievement, has not been the most pleasant. She's alienated most everyone she knows, so of course she decides she's going to try to turn it around for her obituary, and we watch her efforts, and of course, so does the journalist. I kind of wish this was a better script. again, McLean and Seyfried do their very, very best. I just wish again that it had been better. The Last Word may be of interest to people. It's kind of chick flick like. I think it'll work well on cable, for instance. But a movie about two women that I like much better, Cat Fight. This is a very clever, hilariously dark satire about two women, former college classmates, whose fortunes have gone in very different directions since school days. Sandra Oh is Veronica, who has become a very wealthy snob, and Anne Heche, who's back in another film this weekend, is Ashley, and she's now a struggling artist. And they reconnect at a party where they get into a violent fist fight, resulting in one of them being in a coma for 2 years. And when she finally wakes up, the two women have experienced a reversal of fortune. And the brawling continues over and over as time marches forward. I totally love this movie. It's a nasty and funny piece of work. And the slam bang bonk bonk soundtrack during the fisticuffs is straight out of a Stephen Chow Chopsaki comedy. I don't know much about the writer-director Oner Tuckle, but kudos. By the way, the cast also includes Alicia Silverstone, Titus Burgess from Kimmy Schmidt, and Dylan Baker. Not too shabby. Okay, finally, a third film about a pair of women, Love Song, only this is a tender side of female bonding movie. In fact, it's a girl-on-girl thwarted romance made on a shoestring and benefiting from the two leads, Jenna Malone, who is one of the women, and Riley Keough, yes, Elvis Presley's granddaughter, as the other. And both women are really wonderful in this film about neglect by a husband, another road trip. The wife takes the road trip with her daughter and her best friend, and along the way, the best friend and the wife kind of find themselves re-examining their relationship. And of course, things are not going to be easy for them down the road, and we watch how it all goes down. Directed and co-authored by So Young Kim. I thought Love Song was pretty solid stuff. Again, I think this is available on on your DVR. You can look at it at your listings. See if you can find it for VOD. Brooklyn Decker and Rosanna Arquette are also in this film. It's pretty solid stuff. So that pretty much wraps it in terms of the new films. Are you watching any video or
Nothing.
seen anything in the theater?
No. I went and saw that film by Peele this weekend.
The Jordan Peele film,
yeah.
Get Out.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Girlfriend felt it didn't have a good second half, but I liked it a lot. I think it was very funny, and
I thought it worked.
Yeah, definitely worked. Happy to see him. Huh?
I was going to say, and the message is pretty cool. They're just addressing postmodern race relations, and this is quite a time for that kind of movie.
Yeah, and what did you think about the Oscars?
Well, look. First off, I thought Jimmy Kimmel is, and maybe I'm parroting what other people have said, but I said it right as it ended. He's as close as we're going to get to someone like Bob Hope or Carson. He was very cool under fire. He had a real ease about the hosting gig. Mm-hmm. One of the things that made him better than Letterman, even though like Letterman, he used bits from his own show at the Oscars and tried to sort of shoehorn them in there, was that he has an ongoing relationship and a kind of friendly one, albeit with sniping, with a lot of Hollywood people. He's based out of L.A. He has a lot of actors on the show, and they are good sports about doing his bits. So unlike the adversarial relationship Letterman always had with his guests, for the most part, mm-hmm. Kimmel doesn't have that, and he brought that good vibe to the presentation. And in terms of the final few minutes, when it happened, I actually stood up startled at what I saw going on stage and embarrassed for everyone involved. And I'm not going to blame Warren Beatty. I know what he tried to do when he saw it and handed it over to Faye Dunaway as if like, wow, look at this, not read this. And she blurted out, la, la, la. I mean, if anyone was a little like kind of flummoxed in the moment, it was probably her. But yeah, Price Waterhouse Cooper kind of Price Waterhosed everybody with the screw up.
Well, there's one thing that nobody has brought up. My friend Shaggy brought it up to me, and he's absolutely right. There's one phony part of that show, and that was the people coming off the tour bus. They showed the tour bus rolling down Hollywood Boulevard, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you see any blockage there? Because Hollywood Boulevard is blocked off on Oscar night.
It is, and
also it was about 7:30 California time when he did that bit, and the sun was still up and high in the sky.
I'd have to re-examine the tape. This is kind of like a Warren Commission thing.
I think the whole thing was set up. I mean, they shot the bus a couple of days earlier, and then they got a bunch of people waiting in the wings to come in and do this bit.
Maybe. I thought it worked pretty well, and we did find out.
It went on a little too long.
Gary from Chicago. This is actually a Jimmy Kimmel style bit for sure, and if anything didn't work, it's probably that. But I mean, mean tweets that's a staple of his show.
Yeah.
I thought that in general the show was pretty good.
He did one thing that sometimes people don't respect, and that is the star of the show are the Oscars, not you. And he took that to heart. He just, he was the MC. That was it.
Right.
Did a really nice job. But no, I just I wanted to know how you felt about the picture that won the Oscar.
It's a good little indie.
Well, it's a mediocre little film.
It's a good little indie for what it's worth, and I thought that it had very emotional moments, and I thought it was well executed for a first-time film. But the real best film of the ones they actually presented there to me was a movie you didn't like either, Manchester by the Sea.
No, I liked. I'll tell you the one I felt should have actually. If Hollywood was going to be bullied into giving the black community its day at the Oscars, I would have given it to Hidden Figures,
which is a wonderful film, although a little, kind of TV movie-ish in places, but well acted.
But I mean, I thought Moonlight was just a slog, and I felt it was a mediocre film. And in any other situation except this year, when the Academy was, I think, somewhat bullied into inclusion, that picture wouldn't have even made the cut.
Well, you do know, we've said it before, and we'll say it again, if your movie is about the minority experience, about handicaps, or about the LGBTQI experience, you're going to get attention from the Oscars.
They ticked off all the boxes on this one. They
did.
Yeah.
They did.
But I didn't think it was a very good film, and I think in any other situation, it wouldn't have even gotten nominated.
Well, beautiful performances, specifically by Naomi Harris and Mahershala Ali in the film, made it worthwhile viewing for me. I thought it was good of kind and a good little indie, but I did not think it was the best thing I'd seen this year.
But it's the Oscars, and if I ask people, a month from now what won this year, they won't be able to tell me. So,
Well, there you have it. It's always a pleasure. You can catch me on Twitter. Follow me at Culture Blaster, one word. You can listen to our reviews and conversations, and my essays are available as well at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast on Facebook. And we will be back next weekend, I hope.
Thank you very much, Michael. And the rest of you, stay tuned. There's more GABNet coming right up.